Yeah, let's get started. Uh, Hello everyone, thank you for joining. Uh, my name is Darshan Parikh, uh, part of the GDG Surrey community. So yeah, we'll start with the community introduction, and once that is done, we'll hand over to our expert speaker Vasudev to talk more about uh, the series that we are doing. So yeah, let's get started. So yeah, as you guys are aware, we are Google Developers Group community, GDG Surrey community. So a lot of you might have a question, what is GDG, right? So GDG, Google Developers Group, is a non-profit initiative that connects developers and tech enthusiasts of all the levels. So it doesn't matter if you're a rookie, if you have started, if you're a student, doesn't matter. You can be part of the community. You can start contributing. And three main important things about GDG is connect, learn, and grow. So this is a community which allows us to connect and share our knowledge and skills, and learn from people, learn from the community, and then grow together as a community, as an individual, as a society. So that is what GDG, Google Developers Group, is. Uh, you might ask, what is GDG Surrey, right? So GDG Surrey is a similar to GDG. It's a diverse and inclusive community. We aim to create an environment where everyone can collaborate, uh, from rookie to experienced people, experienced professionals. So yeah, we try to be include everyone so that everyone can learn from each other. And the main motto of GDG Surrey, imagine, innovate, impact, three I's. Uh, I I ensure you this is not a business pitch. It's just a community motto, and we would like to, uh, whatever we do, we would like to keep that motto in mind, and we would like to make sure that we are having a positive impact in the community. So, uh, three simple words to reach to our vision. That is our motto: imagine, innovate, and impact. And as you must be able to see a QR code on the right side of the slide. So we are on Discord. Uh, if you have your devices on, you should be able to scan this QR code, and that will lead you to the Discord app. In case you don't have the app installed on your device, if the app is installed, once you scan the QR code, you should be able to see the invite page. And once you accept the invite, you should be able to join the community. So I would encourage everyone to scan the QR code and join the community. If you are not able to do it right now, we'll show it at the end as well. So uh, yeah, you should be able to do it at the end as well. Let me know if you are not able to scan the QR code. We can paste. Preeti, would you mind pasting a link in the chat so that people can join? Uh,
Sure.
yeah, so that is GDG Sari. Thank you so much. Uh, so we are a small team of people. It's a pretty new community. A lot of people like myself have recently joined the community and would like to collaborate more. Uh, everyone is part of a different dynamic. Some of the people are students, some of them are professionals, uh, some of them are contributors already in other communities. So yeah, and we would love to see your face here as well. And yeah, and thank you so much for contributing and making this event possible. Yeah, thanks a lot, team. And yeah, I'd just like to summarize. GDG is a non-profit initiative, and GDG Surrey is a local chapter based in Surrey, British Columbia. And uh, yeah, this is the we are doing a series of 8 events. Uh, in which you can participate and you can learn more about the Google developer certifications. It is specifically uh, designed to to let you know what kind of things we are going to cover and what kind of things you can expect when you go for a Google Cloud certification. So, uh, with that note, I would like to introduce our speaker for today, Vasudev. Vasudev is a Google developer expert on Google Cloud. He has given more than 30 sessions with the various Google developer group communities, and Vasudev is currently based in London, UK. And in today's session, he will talk about the road to Google Developer Certification series that we are planning to do. It will be a series of 8 events where you can join and you can learn what kind of things you can expect in the certification. So I would like to hand over to you, Vasudev. Yeah,
Yep, thanks, Darshan. Thanks for the introduction, and
and
thanks everyone for. Sorry,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry, let me stop sharing my screen. Yeah, yeah, Vasudev, please go ahead.
Thanks everyone for joining in uh, on a Saturday morning, for making out time and willing to learn more about machine learning engineering series. So this is a 6 week series, and we are here to understand what are the certifications which Google Cloud provides, and what are the key aspects of machine learning certification. So as Darshan introduced me, I currently work as a staff data engineer and also a GDE in cloud, based out of London, uh, in a company called Admiral. So I guess Admiral is something which also operates in North America region as Elephant Insurance, if you may know that. So coming to the discussion today, so it's mostly very informal, and if you have any questions, you can post in chat, and I would address them at the end as well. Uh, so firstly, there are many certifications in Google Cloud. We'll go through what it actually offers and the current focus area of machine learning engineering too. So I would request the participants to just open the Slido by scanning this link. And I have set a few polls running. So that would be helpful for the participants whenever any poll comes up. I hope everyone has opened that. So firstly, why exactly the GDGs around the globe is actually coming up with this initiative? So we all know that there is a lot of documentation available out there, and a lot of medium articles and few quick labs available. But uh, it always good to have someone who actually go through all those topics at a very high level, so that it would act as a good start for all the interested people who also want to pursue a certification. Or let's say if I'm in a role and I want to upskill myself in machine learning engineering on the Google Cloud, or by and large in the Google Cloud landscape. So this particular entire series is useful for anyone who are focusing to upskill, or trying to, as a student, getting into a first job, or want to make a career switch, or want to just get a certification. So this is something which would be useful for everyone in any aspects. Let's say if I'm a data scientist, I want to explore ML ops, ML engineering, and the vice versa. So this actually involves many topics, right from TensorFlow, PyTorch, Kubeflow. I mean, these are certain topics and areas which this entire series would cover, primarily focusing on the machine learning engineering certification path. So that's the primary aim. But however, most of the other aspects would also fall in line with that whenever we are going through all the 6 weeks sessions. So I would just start a poll here. So if you can see, you might be having one poll. Just give a couple of minutes. Okay, so I understand most of the audience are beginner level in Google Cloud. Yep. This 6 weeks course is also focused on taking the beginners to the next level in terms of the certification. And uh, so if you are already good with AWS or Azure or coming from any other open cloud, so this is very relatable to the same, because all the cloud platforms work on the same principle, and they have by and large the same services in each segments, like right from the compute to logging and to the machine learning. But the core theme of the working of those platforms and the services are same. However, how we interact with the services may differ. And let's say if you see this as a AWS or Azure alternative, not exactly an alternative, because each cloud has its best pros and cons. So that Google Cloud as well. And when we speak about the top three public cloud platforms, Google Cloud also stands as one among them. And yeah, virtualization, democratizing ML, cloud-based computing. Yeah, these are some of the answers which we also got, and these are implicit to any cloud platform for sure. So moving ahead, in this particular session, as I understand, um, we have mix of people from AWS, Azure, and the beginners. So all the 6 weeks course would help you to relate right from the beginner to the intermediate level and also the advanced level. So and also if you are coming from AWS or Azure, this would help you to relate to the services which are available in AWS and Azure, and then learn by comparing the services in each other. Let's say if you have already worked in Azure AI space or AWS SageMaker space, this particular 6 weeks course also covers Vertex AI, which is similar to the SageMaker and Azure AI. So every other service in all the clouds are interrelatable. So moving ahead, so we'll go through the certification journey and a few details about ML engineering and what's the expectation out of it, and also some basic questions. And then I will, if we have the time, I'll also go through a few questions. Sorry, a kind of simple demo on the Vertex AI platform. So starting with the cloud journey. So here we have a certification study group. So why exactly and how this would be helpful for you in order to uh, you know, kind of signing up to a certification and clearing the exam. So that's not the primary aim of it for sure, but uh, that's kind of a uh, you know byproduct of this particular entire certification. So the reason being why it has been named, because in Google Cloud we have multiple learning paths, like focused on each role. For example, data engineering or cloud developer or associate engineer. So we have both professional and associate certifications in this. And let's say in this entire 6 weeks, how this particular study group would help you out. So we have certain on-demand courses, as the organizers have mentioned earlier. You would be receiving an email on the Google Quick Labs. I guess it has been renamed as Skills Boost. So in that you will have a catalog of all the sessions by the learning path. Let's say if you want to go through ML learning path, you will get all the access for a self-paced learning in addition to the certification study group weekly sessions. So let's say in your feasible time, you can spend some time and explore those courses. And if you have any questions, we can always discuss in the certification study group in the overall 6 weeks of time. And then we have deeper engagement. So there will be certain um, experts who have already experience working with Google Cloud would engage in those 6 week sessions and would help you through the office hours, and also help you to refer to the to help you to refer the certain courses, and also with certain uh, explanations and use cases. And we also already have the community support through Discord, and we have main Discord channel for Google developers. And I guess the quick labs also have the community support by chat there, and that would be helpful to explore any questions as well. And moving ahead to the skill badges, so there are multiple parts, as I mentioned. So we are currently focusing on the ML part, wherein you will be having different courses within itself in order to complete the overall machine learning and AI. So Google Cloud provides, based upon the role, around 9 or 10 certifications in the professional level. So we have workplace workspace administrator. So this is similar to the enterprise version of Google Drive and Google Meet, and kind of Azure Active Directory, combining to the uh, like we use Google Chats. So as an enterprise, as the enterprise user, how exactly we set up that workspace. So and in this 6 weeks, our interest area is the professional ML engineer. However, we have other certifications in the professional, and couple of certifications in the associate. So if you are a beginner and want to explore, there is no kind of requirement that you should first complete associate and then move to professional. So it's purely based upon experience, and there is no a constraint that I need to first complete associate and then I can go with professional certifications. And there is one distinguished fellow in the professional category. So this is something on the hybrid and multi-cloud. This is not a certification. This is more kind of a accreditation to the particular person, whoever completes that uh, kind of an interview process. So in this particular 6 weeks, we are focusing on ML engineering. And if you are a beginner to the Google Cloud, you can also go through it, uh, the Cloud Digital Leader as well. I mean, the primary focus in this 6 weeks would only be on ML engineering. So what exactly a ML engineer? So it actually focuses all the work around the ML engineer, right from understanding of Google Cloud, alongside of the understanding of different aspects, right from building the model, or a point before that. Let's say if I have a machine learning use case, how do you address that from the use case definition to getting the data, to experimentation, building the model and testing it out, evaluating and deploying it, and then also monitoring the model. So this entire chain of the process will be covered in the ML engineering certification. So it have multiple aspects. Let's say if I want to build a model, I can do it in TensorFlow, PyTorch, Scikit-learn, or any other uh, similar framework. So in the same way, if I want to get the data, I can get it from like BigQuery. BigQuery is a analytical store in the Google Cloud, or I can get it from blob storage or as a CSV. What is the right way in which use case? And also in the use case definitions, um, let's say I can solve a problem with, let's say, Gen AI or LLMs, or uh, let's say reinforcement learning, supervised, unsupervised. What is the certain problem in which can be applied to a specific use case? How do we distinguish that? So this entire 6 weeks of course would actually, each week would focus on each aspect of the entire chain of uh, you know, pipeline of implementation, uh, an end-to-end machine learning model, and how do we address each and every problem in it. And then we have, yeah, just a elaboration of each topic, like frame ML problems and architect ML solutions, and how do we design data preparation and processing systems like ETL. So the focus will not mostly on towards the data engineering, but few aspects of it would also be focused on uh, the like ATL pipelines and developing ML models and automate and orchestrate and monitor. As I said, the end-to-end aspects of a ML pipeline or a role of ML engineer uh, would be expected as part of the ML engineering certification. So ideally, in the week one, week two, we have around 6 weeks of course, and this is a wrap up, I guess. And here we have exam guide. So we are at week one. And in week 2 we have certain courses. So I guess these slides would be shared with you, wherein you can, once you get the access to the quick labs, you can go through each one of these courses and uh, learn and complete these courses and gain a badge, and then you can go through the certifications. And we also have few sample questions available across on the Google Cloud official website, wherein once you complete all these courses, you can go through the sample questions as well. And as part of these courses would involve a challenging lab as well. Let's say you complete the course, at the end you have a lab as a challenge, wherein you need to go through that lab and based upon the instructions you need to complete, uh, let's say build a model or deploy it, and then it would verify automatically whether you have successfully done it or not. And then you would go to the um, next steps of that course completion. So this is actually, the lab is called as challenger lab. So there are two types of lab: a course lab and a challenger lab. The course lab is something for you to learn, and the challenger lab is kind of solving the problem which they have been asked in the as part of the as part of that lab to complete the course. And then coming to the group topics. So firstly we have ML problem framing, which is coming next week, wherein how do we actually define a problem and translate a problem. uh, let's say if you are working in an organizational setup, so your business would request you to solve a use case. So let's say, how do you take that use case and convert a business problem into a ML related problem, and how you would identify the risks, and what exactly uh, the scope of that particular use case, and how effectively you can implement that. That is something which would be covered as part of week 2. And also the ML solution architecture. So once we have a use case defined and it ML problem, the scope document, then we can actually design what is the architecture for that. And we have a broad spectrum of services in Google Cloud in the AI space. How exactly we can consume or we can use each of those services in order to solve that use case, and what is the trade-off between the best and the worst, and what services need to be chosen when. So whenever you learn these like problem framing and solution architecture, this would not only help in the certification path, but also in the real life scenario, where whenever or wherever you apply these kind of use case translations to the technical problems. And then in the week 3, it would be data ingestion exploration. So let's say all the problems are defined and the architecture is defined, then so every ML use case would need the data. So your end model, sorry, your end model would be as good as the data which you ingest to it. So whenever the data gets into the downstream ML models or ML systems, the understanding of how the data is originated and the lineage across it, and what are the different data distributions by doing basic EDAs, and how the ETL is flowing through. So those are some things which would be discussed as part of the preparation and processing, which is nothing but data preparation. And then we have feature engineering, wherein this would discuss about the feature stores. So whenever we develop the models, how do we design a feature store which would suffice in addressing multiple models across the organization in specific. But ideally, whenever we are experimenting, we may not use a feature store. We would rather use some features and then experiment and then deploy it. But when we speak about the organizational setup, we would also look out for a common feature store, wherein that can be consumed by multiple teams at the same time, so that there is no need of redundant features which needs to be maintained in order to be used by the different teams for the different models. And week 4, let's say once the problem is defined and the architecture is decided, once we get the data, then it's in the experimentation phase and training the model and evaluation. So week 4 would be focused on the model development. So as part of this, we would cover uh, like how to use TensorFlow, PyTorch, and what are the different ways to train the model, custom training, inbuilt training, auto ML training. All this would be covered as part of week 4. And then in week 5, let's say we have the model ready, it's ready to deploy. So you have trained a model and experimented it, and all the evaluation metrics like accuracy, recall, precision as the basic metrics are uh, kind of satisfactory, then you want to automate the process. Just like comparing to your traditional software coding, wherein if I have built a particular feature and that is working fine, then I'll merge to the dev test, and it would go to the queue, and it would go to the main branch, and then combine it to the production code. And the process of pushing the code from dev and to the production and merging it with production is something automated, and we call it as DevOps. In the same way, uh, in the landscape of machine learning or models, it's called as MLOps, wherein it involves the ML pipeline automation and orchestration. As the first step, we would design a pipeline, and then I will just show you a sample pipeline how it looks into through the end of this session. And then we have a how do we implement a training pipeline and serving pipeline, how do we deploy the model, how the external systems can use that model to get the predictions out of it, and then how do we track it, like model monitoring, uh, and then how do we use CI/CD to test and deploy models in the similar fashion of promoting the model from different uh, like dev to QA to production. And then we have optimization maintenance, like how do we, let's say if we have certain code, we would generally check the logs of the code to check how exactly the code is performing. In the same way, we check the model monitoring and troubleshooting the model whenever we are seeing that there is a performance strain, and in the same way tuning the model. And in week 6, it's mostly on the review of all the weeks and then registering for the exam. And any quick tips on how do we actually address whatever we have learned to apply it on the certification exam. So the length of the certification is 2 hours, and it's mostly multiple choice and multiple select. I guess the professional ML engineering certification doesn't have any use cases, unlike cloud architect certification provided by Google Cloud. And there are no prerequisites, so no need of any associate certifications or any basic certifications that needs to be required to uh, kind of attend for this particular certification. And then we have the recommended experience. So this is just recommended experience, but in my experience I have seen people with 6 months or 1 year experience, or whoever coming out from the ML engineering experience or from AWS or Azure, who have actually given a try for the exam and cleared that successfully. So this is just an estimated number for the professional certifications, and nothing a kind of constraint in order to attend the exam. So how exactly we would follow through? So now Road to Developer Certification Program has a structured approach to actually address all the aspects of the certification. So firstly, we would build a study plan and understand the business problem, and just practice multiple use cases which are available. So this is something which is an initiative again, in order to mentor or in order to leverage the community to learn together, and just the sample questions. So at this point, I would stop and uh, s- start a poll once again. I hope you can see the poll now. Okay, so we got a overall of 11 submissions. Yeah, the certification is called as Professional Machine Learning Engineering certification. Yeah, so we got around like a mixed answers here. So I have some solid background. So when we say background, it might be in a pure data science or ML uh, engineering as well, not Google Cloud. So this helps in getting a step ahead. Let's say if I have never worked with Google Cloud, but I also want to go through this 6 weeks program and then try it out to attempt a Google Cloud certification or like this ML engineering certification. This would also help you out. And let's say if you have basic knowledge of GCP and then want to learn about ML engineering and then attempt that, this would also help. And as a let's say as a person who doesn't know about both ML and ML engineering and Google Cloud, it would also help you out. The 6 weeks program would help you out to learn something about both ML and Google Cloud. But however, uh, this would this would take a bit more time for you to learn in depth and then attempt for an exam. That doesn't mean that this would not have any value. This would have the value, but if you are targeting the certification for sure, that would take around 3 or 4 weeks extra for you to completely go through the concepts in depth and then uh, attempt for an exam. So here we have few sample questions review. How the questions look in a particular exam. So all the questions are multiple choice or the multi select questions. So here, if you take a minute and read through this question, this actually tells us about a manufacturing company which owns few high value machines and sensors. So they get the data from the machine every hour. So that means it's kind of a streaming data which comes every hour, and they want to predict whether the machine will fail. It's kind of a predictive maintenance use case wherein they want to predict whether the machine would fail in the next 3 days or not, so that they can do a scheduled maintenance before the machine fails. So what's the expectation here? To understand the data preparation and model training steps which needs to be taken. So any guesses on the answers? Please feel free to put in the chat. Okay, so the highlighted one is the correct answer. We would also see what is the reason behind it. So, firstly, whenever we want to get the 3 days or the next 3 days of uh, data, like based upon the 3 days of uh, like schedule maintenance, so we want the data previously as a history. So, let's say if you only get one value, like daily max or daily min, that would not be sufficient to understand the patterns between the data. So that being the reason, in order to show or understand the trend across the data, we would also, I mean, the need is beyond the minimum and maximum. So we would obviously need the data as a rolling average or the average of that data, which is incoming. And the next thing is model training. So the model training, so I mean, if you go through this process, you will understand better what is BQML and AutoML. But when we speak about AutoML, so AutoML comes as a separate flavor compared to uh, BQML. So AutoML is used when, let's say, you have the data, but you doesn't have an experience of writing a ML model, then you would go with AutoML. But the AutoML doesn't comes with BQML. BQML is nothing but writing. It's BigQuery ML, wherein you write or build the ML models as part of your SQL queries. So whoever knows the SQL, then they can actually build a model in BigQML. Right? So when we come to this question, so we would obviously need rolling average because we want to understand the trends in the particular data which is incoming from the sensor. So we understand the data is coming based upon each hour, and if we actually take a minimum or maximum, we are kind of restricting ourselves to look only on the one data point. So let's say we take an average of all. So we are somewhere between the best and the worst, just to understand uh, the, uh, I mean, just to understand the value or the fluctuations in that particular sensor data. So we actually found out that the rolling average is something which is required. So rolling average and the logistic regression with BQML. So why exactly BQML? Why not any other model which I can build from Python? In this case, we understand that the data is stored in BigQuery. However, we can read the data in like I can build a Vertex AI workbench, which is nothing but a kind of Jupyter notebook, and I can build a notebook and I can learn. I can run a I can run a Python code where I can read the data from BigQuery and then build a logistic regression on top of it. That is fairly easy. But as per the best practice, I already know that the data is already saved in BigQuery. So the best case is to directly build the model on top of the data which has been stored. Like the data is stored in BigQuery, so I can directly run a BQML pipeline and I can write the query in BigQuery ML and then run that code and build the model in BigQuery directly. Right? So that is the reason where all the options, most of them contain BigQuery ML. Right? And then the difference between the auto class weights. So the main reason why we need auto class weights here is to balance the class labels within the training data. So ideally, by default, the training data is not weighted. So if the training data labels are out of balance, the model can predict a kind of without weighing the most. So let's say if the most popular label classes are more, in such case we might get a different set of results compared to when we say auto class weights. It would balance out the entire data across the labels. So that is the reason why we have chosen option as D. So moving ahead, right now we are seeing about the next sample question. So the first question is mostly on the contextual based. So you have been given a situation wherein you need to understand different phases of it. Like we discussed earlier, we are getting the data, process storing it somewhere, want to get some output. So we have a use case that needs to be translated into a technical uh, use case, and what is the best way to apply the machine learning model considering where it is stored and what is the end goal which is needed. So that is some considerations which you need to be taken whenever you are answering the questions. And then this is a kind of question wherein what is the best do considering the situation, right? So I would just give 15 or 20 seconds to read through the question and then we can discuss this. Yeah. So it says that it's a large financial institution who wants to build a chatbot. So the Google Cloud's chatbot platform is known as Dialogflow, and they want to integrate it with the company's mobile app. So it gives the integration with multiple uh, like websites and also to the mobile apps and few call centers, companies or platforms like Genesis, Aviva. Now, let's say you have reviewed all chat logs and tagged each conversation for intent based upon each customer's stated intention for the customer service. So this is nothing but there are old chat logs, historical chat logs on which you have tagged those intents. Intents are nothing but whenever I ask a question, it would detect under which category or what are the keywords in that. and then redirect to the respective backend chat flow. And then they say that about 70% of the customer inquiries are simple requests. Sorry, I have already shown the answer. Sorry for that. 70% of the customer inquiries are simple requests that are solved within 10 minutes. Sorry, 10 instants. The remaining 30% of the inquiries require much longer and more complicated requests. Which intent should you automate first? So here, I mean, the right answer is option C. However, we would discuss the intuition behind that. So here it says, I mean, we understand from the question that we want to build a chatbot, and we have all the 70% of the inquiries as simple requests. So let's say if I'm a financial, I mean, as a company's user, I want to understand what is my next payment date. So I have a due on credit card, and I want to ask what is the next payment date. So this is a simple intent because it just understand payment date, and as a user it asks me a few questions, and it goes through that process of verifying the user, like kind of OTP verification or app verification, and then it would directly get uh, via an API, it would directly get uh, the next due date on my credit card, and it would show me. This is a simple intent. So let's understand a complex intent. So complex intent is nothing but, let's say I have made a credit card transaction, and the credit card transaction was not authorized, and it I feel that it's a fraud transaction in a hypothetical case. And in such case, a simple intent would not actually understand this entire case, and this would be a threaded conversation, and it would always be helpful if we have a live person on the other side of the table to address that issue, right? However, the chatbot can raise a service request on the backend of the financial institution stating that is so and so user have raised this, so that the corresponding team can address. That's a different part, but a kind of complex queries can't be addressed right away, right? So from that uh, context, so let's say if the option one is automate a blend of shortest and longest intents to be a representative of all the intents. So the main drawback of this case is it suggests that automate both of them so that we can get automate all the intents so that all the intents would be redirected through the chatbot. This is not the best case because let's say if we are doing a complex queries and if the chatbot uh, can't handle that, the trust on the chatbot would be decreased. Right? When it comes to the option B, automate the more complicated requests first because those queries require more of the agent's time. So ideally, the complicated queries or requests are something which I have just spoken, wherein that actually requires a live uh, person on the other side who would address our query in a personalized fashion. So here option B is something which is also not appropriate. And then we would first go with D. Automate intents in places where common words such as payment only appear once to avoid confusing the software. So w- through the process of all these 6 weeks, you will learn about dialog flow. And when you learn about dialog flow, you will understand that the dialog flow can also understand uh, multiple intents. It would not only understand the payment or credit dues or account information. It would understand many intents. So it actually depends upon how we develop that. And then coming to the correct answer, it's automate the intents that cover 70% of the requests so that live agents can handle more complicated. So from the question, we understand that 70% of the queries are simple and it can be solved in 10 within 10 intents. So intents are nothing but the logic on which we train on the chatbot so that it can understand. So with the coverage of 10 intents, we are covering about 70% of all the customer inquiries. So the best option is to first implement that and then uh, transfer all the complicated queries to a live person who are sitting on as a customer agent. So moving ahead to the next steps. So in as part of next steps, we would first understand how this is structured. So we would attend weekly study group. It would be of 1 hour, I guess, and then we would review the exam guide. I mean, all the links are available as part of this presentation, which would be shared, and make a study plan. So this study plan might be same or different for each person here. The reason being, I'm I might already know GCP but not machine learning, but a different person has a different perspective wherein he knows machine learning but not Google Cloud. So everyone here can start from a multiple checkpoints and then move forward. However, this study plan is something which has been designed as a generic study plan. I would also share few links wherein you can find few resources outside the quick labs like Medium articles or YouTube videos wherein you can refer to them for the further understanding. And then we have the quick labs. So highlighted in the green are the names of the quick labs. And then we have some office hours and questions where we can, I guess we have a Discord group, correct? So in the Discord group, I guess there is a separate channel or the general channel where you can ask the questions and we can help each other on that as well. And the additional resources. So these are the additional resources where you can seek help from to get the understanding of each component or each topic in the entire certifications certification guide. Yep. This is again the overall structure of the end-to-end 6 weeks plan. So I mean we are in the pre-work, to be honest, and then we have 6 weeks. I'm not sure on this, sorry. Then once you complete this, then you will get a participation badge. It would ideally be 24. This is a old badge. And thank you again for participating in this session. And the goal here is to learn, engage, and also this entire, I mean, the culture of community wherein you can post questions and I can also answer few of them, and the other experts who will be joining us in the further weeks would also answer them. This is just to get the best experience for you to onboard through the certification process. And I understand we have other 8 minutes.
Yeah, we can go
Yes.
over the questions. There are half a dozen questions on the slider.
Yeah, I can see
So
that.
yeah, would you mind? Uh, would you want us to read it to you, or we
No,
can
no, I
cover
can
it
read
one
it.
by one?
I can read. I can
Okay.
read it. Yeah. Yep. So this certification is basically for getting you ready to attempt for the certification. This would not give you a certification. However, this gives you a badge on the quick labs that you have completed, let's say, professional ML courses. You can only get that, but in order to achieve this certification, you need to go through an exam, which would be proctored. Ideally, you can attempt that exam based upon your feasibility both online and also at an exam center. So this 6 weeks of process is to getting you ready to appear for the certification. So do we receive any kind of voucher or discount? I'm not sure on this. Organizers, do you have any idea?
Um, for this one, we are trying, but we cannot really promise at this point. But we are trying to get some vouchers. So just I would just say look for the announcement on Discord, because if we secure some vouchers, we'll be announcing it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So the next question is, let's say if you don't have any experience with GCP. So as I said, this is for everyone, and each one of our attendees would be starting at a different points. Let's say someone knows GCP or doesn't, someone knows ML or doesn't. This is for everyone. This is from the basic beginner stage, and all the courses which you see through the quick labs would make you understand all like one aspect after the other, and all the quick labs are kind of uh, let's say if we take a course, it has multiple sections to it. You need to complete one after the other, and they are designed in such a way that it would be helpful for the beginners, intermediate, and also advanced. So to answer this question, there is no need of any experience to start with. However, whenever you are planning to appear for the examination at the end of 6th week or 7th week, or whatever the time you want to take, in that phase you need to evaluate by attempting some sample questions whether you are ready to take the exam or not. Yeah, I guess the question is on the same lines. I don't have any experience. Should I still try? Yes, I would surely say that you should give it a try. Is there any difference between ML engineer and AI engineer? So, I mean, this is something where we do not have a definitive answer, and it's based upon the perception. And based upon my perspective, ML engineer and AI engineer roles are a kind of subset of the overall data science roles, and wherein, from my perspective, ML engineer is the one who actually gets the model to the production after deployment. In the same way, like a DevOps engineer would actually gets the code, packages it, and pushes it into the production and manages it. The ML engineer would also do the same. Whereas do the same for ML models, obviously. So when we speak about AI engineer, it's mostly onto uh, we have both, like applied AI and AI. So AI engineer mostly works with the applied AI part, wherein, let's say, for example, if I have a LLM available, I will just use it and get the results and tune it. So that is the part of AI engineer, compared to, let's say, a data scientist or a decision scientist, wherein their role is to develop the LLM from scratch. So that is the key difference from my perspective. But I mean, if you go through some articles or videos, your perspective might be different, and each organization and company would operate their ML engineers and AI engineers differently. So it's again respective to their organizational needs and the operating model. So if you have Coursera available and use the ML course and labs from them, is it going to affect your progress within study group? We share the quick labs user. So ideally, there is no hard and fast rule that you cannot go through the Coursera, but however, in you complete the quick labs, that would be benefited, because you would all, I guess, as part of this 6 weeks, there would be a kind of tracking on whether you're completing your quick labs or doing some follow-ups. But quick labs and Coursera courses, you can do the both if you have that time, but there is no rule that you need to only go through quick labs. Will there be a break between the sessions? Web page for class said 8 weeks. So will there be a break? I'm not sure. Ideally, in my previous experience with other GDCs, all the course is for straight 6 weeks. There is no break, but uh, this is up to the organizers and the attendees part of this course, how they want to adjust based upon everyone's poll and the requirement. And web page for the class said 8 weeks. So is it? I'm sorry if that is the case. Preeti or any organizer, can you please confirm?
Yeah, so we have a plan for 7 virtual sessions, and then we have a conference. But when it comes to the break, we next one is on February 20th, so there is a break of 1 week.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, but others are kind of building on, we like on weekly basis, or yeah, like bi-monthly, something like that. But I would just say everybody to just go on Discord and check, or you.
We couldn't hear you, Preeti.
Oh, sorry, I was speaking on mute. So I've just pasted the link in the chat. So we have all the dates mentioned on our events. So some of them have around 2 weeks gap, and some of them are just they have like 7 days gap. So that's the gap, that's the break that we have in between this. But it's not. I should say that everybody has to go through the courses, but the weekly time would might not be enough to complete them. But yeah, we'll do the basics. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I guess we have all the questions covered. And coming to the last poll of the day, what's your key takeaway? Are you excited, or I mean, you feel it's very, very complex? I mean, we are here to help you through the Discord or all the available mediums in order to get going and avoid the confusion, and also help you to get started with the sessions in every way possible.
Good to see that people are excited and looking forward to the next sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
love
thanks
the
for
positive
joining.
mindset.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining, and yep. Have a great weekend.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank you
Vasudev,
everyone.
for such an
Before you go,
insightful
uh,
session.
yeah, before you go, I'll just like to share the Discord QR code again, so that people who missed the first time can and join the Discord channel. Eh,
Yeah. With that, I would really like to say thanks, Vasudev, for the clarity in simplifying the questions and guiding us towards understanding the appropriate answers. I would like to address that these questions are not up to the level which you would see in the actual exam. So we encourage you to complete the courses, to complete the labs, and if you have any questions, just message them on Discord. The courses, they do have their own support, their own community, so you can ask questions there as well. But if you want us to help, we have mentors who can help you answer your questions or troubleshoot, if you have any issues in the labs. So just post your questions in our Discord channel, and yeah, stay tuned for the announcements that we have. Thank you, Vasudev. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.